CM Punk has finally revealed what is in the bag last night on AEW Collision, and it's his AEW World Championship. He is claiming he is the real world champion, and he spray painted his logo across of it. Details on that, plus next week he's going to be defending the real world championship against Absolute Ricky Starks on AEW Collision, with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat being the outside official to make sure there's no cheating in the match. FTR retained the AEW World Tag Team Championships against MJF and Adam Cole last night. Andrade regains his mask after defeating Buddy Matthews in a ladder match, and Mercedes Martinez attacks the TBS champion, Chris Statlander. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. Let's start off talking about CM Punk and what was in the bag. Well, we found out last night on AEW Collision on TNT. Now, after carrying around a bag with him since his return to AEW, CM Punk finally unveiled the mystery contents on AEW Collision last night. During an interview with the legendary Tony Schiavone in front of a raucous crowd at the XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut, the best in the world pulled an AEW World Championship bout from his bag. However, it wasn't just any replica title that anyone could purchase from a merch stand. This was in fact the very same title belt that CM Punk won from Jon Moxley at AEW All Out 2022. Upon revealing the prestigious item, Punk also declared that he is the real world champion as opposed to MJF and his Big Burberry bout, since he was never defeated for the aforementioned title. And though he pointed out that his name is on it and his blood are on it, the Second City Saint took an extra step to make sure everyone knew that this was his title bout and the real world championship bout by spray painting a black X over the center plate of the title. With this act, Punk also reminded everyone that the X logo, which has represented him since 1997, means that he's straight edge, and quote, straight edge means I'm better than you, a phrase he's used several times throughout his career, of course. This prompted an appearance from Absolute Ricky Starks, who defeated Punk to win this year's Owen Hart Foundation tournament, and again, it led to some very interesting developments regarding the two stars. We'll get to that in just a second, but what are your thoughts on CM Punk's promo? What are your thoughts on the title belt? What are your thoughts on Punk spray painting the X over the center plate, right over the E in All Elite Wrestling? Some people took an exception to that. What are your thoughts on it? Where do you think this is headed? Are we going to be getting a champion versus championship match in the future with CM Punk facing off against MJF? Is that potentially where we're heading towards when it comes to All In at London's Wembley Stadium? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and predictions in the comment section below. Now, I mentioned where this was going regarding Ricky Starks, and actually he's going to be leading to a real World Championship match next week. After CM Punk unveiled the real AEW World Championship on this week's AEW Collision, a friend turned foe in the form of Absolute Ricky Starks entered Hartford's XL Center to challenge him for it. The winner of this year's Owen Hart Foundation tournament pointed out that he holds not one, but two victories over the best in the world, so he should be the one holding Punk's bout, which now sports a big black spray-painted X on the center plate. While Punk isn't one to back down from a challenge, he did say that he'd like a special guest referee for their next match due to the questionable ways which Starks has claimed victories over him in recent weeks. Well, enter the Dragon. Following the announcement made in the arena by the iconic Tony Schiavone, AEW owner, promoter, and president Tony Khan confirmed on social media that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat will be the special outside official when Starks and Punk meet to determine the real world champion on next week's AEW Collision. Steamboat and Punk, of course, they have a long history together. When he was a fan, Punk looked up to wrestlers like the Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Later, when Punk became a wrestler himself, he got to work with the WWE Hall of Famer. First, they feuded in Ring of Honor when the legend confronted the Second City Saint for his arrogance. Then, they teamed together in a multi-man match after Steamboat's feud with Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 25. As Ian Riccaboni pointed out on commentary, Steamboat also has a good deal of experience as a referee throughout his career, in addition to acting as the official for WWE house shows during his mid-2000s run. He also refereed matches featuring Punk and the Pure Championship in Ring of Honor. Now, many years later, he'll bring his trademark morality and unwavering rule following to AEW to cross paths with the straight-edge superstar once again. What are your predictions for next week? Do you think Ricky Starks is going to win the Real World Championship, or is CM Punk going to retain? And is this the beginning of a more hard brand split when it comes to Collision. Do we now have a World Championship specific to AEW Collision? And is the AEW World Championship going to be specific to AEW Dynamite? What are your thoughts on all of this? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below about it. Now, the main event last night on AEW Collision, of course, was for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, pitting the bromance of the summer against one of the most dominant tag teams in AEW history. FTR, though, has once again retained their AEW World Tag Team titles on an episode of AEW Collision during the July 29 edition of the show. In the main event, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler defeated Adam Cole and AEW World Champion MJF after Harwood covered MJF with a victory via a roll-up. Last night's match comes only 2 weeks after the duo successfully defended their titles on the July 15 edition of AEW Collision against Jay White and Juice Robinson in a 2 out of 3 falls classic that nearly lasted an hour against Bullet Club Gold. Cole and MJF earned the title shot after they defeated Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara in the finals of the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament on the July 19 edition of AEW Dynamite. The unlikely duo has shocked fans, especially in light of the difference in MJF's attitude. At the end of Saturday's match, it appeared that MJF was going to hit Cole with the AEW World Championship, but in the end he couldn't go through with it and they were hugging each other before the show closed. Harwood and Wheeler are in their second reign as AEW World Tag Team Champions. Their second reign as champions began when they defeated the Guns on the April 5th edition of AEW Dynamite. But it didn't stop there, though. The love fest continued once the show went off the air. MJF, the AEW World Champion, had nothing but praise for FTR after he and Adam Cole unsuccessfully challenged for the AEW World Tag Team Championships on last night's episode of AEW Collision. After the show went off the air, MJF brought up the fact that he was once in a stable called The Pinnacle alongside Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, expressing regret that his own arrogance led to the stable being disbanded prematurely. Quote, "At the time, I was too arrogant to realize how great FTR is," MJF said, admitting that he butted heads with Harwood and Wheeler due to their cultural differences. "I'm a New York yuppie. You're real Southern, right? You hit hard, I do eye pokes. I'm old money, you're new money. But if there's one thing that I can say we have in common is that we love professional wrestling. And tonight, whether it means anything to you now or the AEW World Champion wanted to say, it's apparent you two are the best tag team in the world." MJF then suggested that the four men in the ring celebrate their differences and similarities by enjoying something that is world famous in Hartford, Connecticut. At this point, MJF began bring out the pizza chant, much to the delight of fans in the XL Center who joined in the fun. Once an AEW official brought out pizza, Harwood decided to repay the favor by bringing out a bottle of tequila. The segment concluded with the four men sharing a slice of pizza and raising a toast with their tequila-filled solo cups. So there you go. I guess they're all friends now moving forward, and they're all happy moving forward after all. Now, ever since his pairing with Adam Cole, the AEW World Champion has exhibited babyface tendencies, and his latest interaction with FTR is likely another step towards his character change after their loss to FTR, and irate MJF teased blindsiding Cole with the title bout, as I mentioned, but the two men ended up hugging out to close the show. Some fans have suggested the possibility of Cole eventually portraying MJF, and that's my question to you. Where do you think this is now going? Now that they didn't win the AEW World Tag Team Championships, but they didn't turn on each other either, where is this going? Who is going to turn on the other? Eventually, one has to turn on one of them, right? So is it going to be Adam Cole turning on MJF? Or, as some predict, is it going to be MJF turning on Adam Cole? And when do you think that's going to happen? Let me know your predictions about that in the comment section below as well. Andrade El Idolo once again is in possession of his mask. Yes, it's been a couple of weeks since he's been able to say that, but finally he's got the job done. On this hot summer night in July, for once, the house does not always win. In the opening contest of last night's AEW Collision, Andrade El Idolo faced off with Buddy Matthews of the House of Black in a ladder match to reclaim the mask that was taken from him. And if the Juggernaut wasn't enough to deal with La Sombra, he had to contend with Julia Hart, who made her presence known at various points in the match. Hart's meddling truly reached a boiling point when she pulled out a set of handcuffs to restrain the luchador. She and Matthews attached El Idolo to the bottom rope outside of the ring in order to keep him from climbing the ladder and winning the match. However, the spooky duo was hoisted on their own as they taunted their vulnerable opponent. As Matthews got too close, he took a boot to the face. Startled by the swift attack, Hart let go of the key she was dangling in Andrade's face and inadvertently put it within his reach. Freed from his restraints, AEW turned the tables on Matthews and cuffed him to the rope as he ascended the ladder. Hart pulled out a set of bolt cutters to free her stablemate, then bolted up the ladder to try and stop their foe. But despite her best efforts, even though Matthews got free from the cuffs, Malachi Black's henchman ended up going through the table. That's indeed both Julia Hart and Buddy Matthews, which left Andrade with no more obstacles between him and his beloved mask. While justice has been served for now and the house may need to rebuild, time will tell if the ferocious foursome is done with Tranquillo Terminator. We'll have to wait and see. What did you make of the ladder match? Several people were raving about it last night. What did you think, and where do you think both sets of competitors go now that seemingly this feud is over, at least for now? Finally, we may have an update on the next challenger for the TBS Championship, because it became pretty apparent last night, didn't it, actually, on AEW Collision. Chris Statlander's next defense of the AEW TBS Championship has been seemingly revealed on last night's episode of AEW Collision. On the show, Mercedes Martinez defeated Kira Hogan by submission, keeping the submission on Hogan after the match. The post-match attack drew out Chris Statlander, who saved Hogan from the assault from Martinez. Statlander was then laid out by Martinez, who hit her with the TBS Championship before standing over her, telling her she was coming for the title. Willow Nightingale ran out to help Statlander from the attack from Martinez, potentially setting up a three-way for the title, potentially at AEW All In. Several other names have taken an aim at Statlander's title ahead of All In, including current Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena. So we'll have to wait and see who indeed does challenge for the TBS Championship. But in the more immediate future, it does look like it could be the former Ring of Honor Women's World Champion herself, Mercedes Martinez. So what are your thoughts on that? And is this a good step when it comes to booking of the AEW Women's Division, or is this just another example of how AEW, particularly Tony Khan, is struggling to book the women's talent in AEW right now? But there you go, guys. It's the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash the like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.